Ride the signal through the unknown. This is the cryptic current.
One day in 1967, Swiss scientist Mr. Hans Jenny began his experiment that had been repeated countless times. He took a handful of fine quartz sand, spread it on a 60 centimeter square black drum membrane, and then played music beneath the drum membrane. The next day, a miraculous scene appeared. As the melody changed, the quartz sand would display different patterns. And this time, Mr. Han obtained a magical pattern like this. Mr. Han believed that the reason small quartz sand particles could automatically arrange into patterns was because sound waves could resonate with materials like water waves, electrical waves, and sand particles. The quartz sand on the drum membrane became an intermediate medium that visualized sound waves, meaning through this medium, sound waves could be made visible as images. That's called the science of sound visualization, cymatics, was born. When Mr. Han first introduced this concept of sound visualization science, it didn't. But now, more and more people are discovering that cymatics is like a mirror reflecting the invisible world. Ocean researchers use it to study communication methods among marine creatures, such as dolphins. Medical researchers use it to assist in patient therapy. Some even say it contains the mechanism behind crop circle formation and the secrets of pyramid construction. Today let's talk about the story behind sound. Miss Ruby. In 1875, an ancient temple in southern India collapsed. A Mrs. Laman discovered a portion of a handwritten manuscript in ancient Sanskrit in the temple corner. When transliterated, the book. This Mrs. Laman dedicated herself to organizing and properly understanding the manuscript's content. She discovered it was a technical manual about ancient Indian aerospace technology. Inside, it recorded in great detail contents about an ancient Indian flying object, including issues such as the materials used to build it, its structure, astronaut training, clothing, diet, flight operations, and even the flight environment. The author of this handwritten manuscript was Maharshi Bharadwaja, an ancient Indian sage from 3,000 years ago. Therefore, this manuscript is also called the Maharshi manuscript. In 1959, part of the manuscript's content was translated into Hindi and published. In 1979, J.R. Josier, president of the International Sanskrit Research Institute, translated the manuscript into English and published. In the Maharshi manuscript, it says that Vimana is a type of flying device created using extraterrestrial technology, capable of appearing or disappearing according to its owner's command. It could also resist lightning, become invisible, block wind, and had the ability to fly anywhere on Earth, even to other worlds. In the Indian temple city of Kanchipuram, there are about 424 temples. Among these temples, besides statues of deities like Shiva and Rama, there are also many stone murals depicting Vimana. In India's national treasure, the mythological epic Ramayana, there are also many descriptions of Vimana. The main character in Ramayana is Rama, Prince of Ayodhya. Yana means adventures. True to its name, Ramayana is precisely the story of Rama's life with its ups and downs. According to the Vedic system, the Ramayana story occurred approximately 880,000 years ago. The book records a battle between Rama and the demon Sakravana. In that ancient battle, whether on the righteous or evil side, both piloted an incredibly miraculous aerial chariot. And this type of aerial chariot was precisely the Vimana. Vimana had many types, capable of carrying from dozens to hundreds of people. The maximum speed could reach 5,800 kilometers per hour, which is 4.7 times the speed of sound. This speed falls within a hypersonic speed range. Even today, only a few extremely special aircraft can achieve this. Because Ramayana describes many overly fantastical scenes, Vimana has always been considered something for gods to ride, merely something written in mythology. However, the discovery of the Maharshi manuscript clearly shortened the distance between myth and reality. In legends, the mythology of many ancient civilizations contains records related to ancient flying machines. But handwritten manuscripts with detailed descriptions of ancient machine designs, even including drawings like in the Maharshi manuscript, are extremely rare. S. Description: Vimana. Many people might say this imagination is too rich, it's hard to believe. But coincidentally, in the Bible there's also a mysterious story about using sound to destroy an entire city. According to records in the book of Joshua in the Old Testament, over 3,000 years ago, under God's guidance, Moses led the Jewish people living in Egypt to escape from Pharaoh's slavery and leave Egypt to return to their homeland. However, before Moses reached the promised land of Canaan that God permitted, he had passed away. Before his departure, he followed God's will to appoint Joshua as the new leader of the Jewish people. And so Joshua led everyone across the Jordan River, continuing to advance toward the land of Canaan. But to enter the land of Canaan, they had to capture the impregnable city of Jericho. Because this city was equivalent to the protective gate guarding the land of Canaan. The city of Jericho had walls 30 cubits high, with inner and outer layers. The outer wall was 6 cubits thick, the inner wall was 12 cubits thick, with 12 cubits between the inner and outer. The city walls were protected by brave warriors. Soldiers standing on the walls could see very far and wide. The Canaanites believed their city of Jericho was unshakable, impossible to breach. But God told Joshua that there was no need to attack. Just lead all the soldiers carrying the Ark of the Covenant and walk around the city of Jericho. The Ark of the Covenant was the sacred artifact of the ancient Israeli nation, recorded in the Bible. Its dimensions, construction methods, and materials were all made according to God's strict instructions. The Ark was 2.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide, and converted to modern measurement units, that's 113 centimeters long, 68 centimeters wide, and 68 centimeters high, made of acacia wood, covered with gold both inside and out. On the Ark's cover were 2 small cherubim with outstretched wings sitting facing each other. In the Bible, besides the 10 Commandments, the Ark of the Covenant is the only second sacred artifact made under the direct guidance of God. God required Joshua to lead the soldiers carrying the Ark of the Covenant, slowly walking around the city of Jericho. 7 priests carrying 7 trumpets of command went before the Ark of the Covenant, circling the city once each day for 7 consecutive days. While circling the city, people were not allowed. On the 7th day, after completing the 7th circuit around the city, the priests had to blow the trumpets. The first 6 days passed peacefully, and the people of Jericho and the city wondered if the Jews were insane. Is this what you call attacking a city? Clearly they came to make a joke. But on the 7th day, after completing 7 circuits, when the trumpets sounded, under Joshua's command, the Jews shouted in unison. The shout echoed like rolling thunder, attacking the entire city of Jericho. Following that, a loud sound arose from beneath the feet of the soldiers defending Jericho. The city walls suddenly collapsed. The Israelites had destroyed a city. This is probably the only event in history where humans used shouting to collapse city walls. A scholar specializing in biblical studies explained the 1,000-year mystery as follows. They believe that trumpet blasts and shouting matched the natural resonant frequency of the city walls and building materials. This caused a resonance phenomenon. A mysterious mechanism in the Ark of the Covenant amplified the sound, amplifying this resonance countless times, thus destroying the city of Jericho. Some say the Bible is religious mythology, others say it's historical fact. Opinions vary on the authenticity of the Jericho story, but the wonder of sound goes far beyond that. Actually, the experiment using quartz sand on a drum surface to visualize sound that we introduced at the beginning of the video was originally invented by German physicist Ernst Chladni. Therefore, Mr. Chladni is known as the father of acoustics. The official name of this experiment is the Chladni metal plate experiment. The patterns created by quartz sand are called Chladni figures. Swiss scientist Hans Jenny was an ardent admirer of Mr. Chladni. After nearly 2 centuries, Hans developed Chladni's experiment and formally proposed the term cymatics. The science of sound visualization, cymatics originates from Greek, originally meaning wave. Everything in the world has its own resonant frequency. Hans believed that cells and organs in the body are no exception. When sound and the human body create resonance effects, music can have healing properties. For example, gentle music can slow heart rate and help people calm down. Hans wonderfully developed Chladni's experiment. Besides quartz sand, he also experimented with other materials like sand, sawdust, and water. He discovered each material has a unique corresponding wave pattern. As sound frequency gradually increases, the physical patterns created by sound waves become more delicate and complex. Until one day, influenced by the Buddhist six-syllable mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, Hans vocalized Om, the first syllable of the 6 characters, into the experimental device. Soon after, a pattern like this appeared on the drum surface. This is exactly the mandala in Tibetan Buddhist tradition. In Sanskrit, mandala means circle or center. Buddhist believers think the mandala pattern contains all the beauty of life, symbolizing balance and harmony, representing a miniature of the universe itself. That's experiment Aaron. Today, on YouTube you can easily find many enthusiasts who have successfully replicated this experiment. One of the most impressive videos is New Zealand musician Nigel Stanford's sound wave visualization work. Nigel skillfully adjusted speaker frequency and camera frame rate synchronization, delivering an audio-visual feast that touches the soul. In the early 21st century, British acoustic engineer John Stuart Reid and his team optimized sound visualization equipment. They used ultra-pure water as the medium for displaying patterns, making the equipment more flexible in capturing medium movement. John named this new device the Cinescope. In 1590, the microscope was born, opening a great door to the microscopic world for humanity. In 1609, the telescope was born, again opening a great door to the astronomical world for humanity. And now, Slimerscope brings us the opportunity to glimpse the world of cymatics. In 2009, Sysdolphin, a group specializing in dolphin language research, collaborated with John to conduct a series of experiments. They used underwater receivers to collect the echolocation waves emitted by dolphins, then placed them into the Slimerscope. A miraculous scene appeared, as the image display showed the form of researcher Jim McDonald. Through cymatic, we understood the encoded language of dolphins for the first time. In 2018, Ryan Stable, a British digital acoustic scholar, provided John with ultrasound scanning signals of healthy brain cells and cancerous brain cells. Through Slimerscope, images of healthy cells and cancer cells were also displayed. Interestingly, the healthy cells appeared symmetrical and regular, while the cancer cells were defective and chaotic. In the near future, through the tools of cymatic acoustic visualization science, it may assist doctors in distinguishing between healthy and cancer cells during surgery. Regarding sound waves, there is also a widely circulated legend like this. The essence of sound is the vibration of objects. That vibration propagates through a medium. The eardrum converts it into electrical potentials, thereby generating hearing in the cerebral cortex. Therefore, the vibration frequency of a sound wave is the only factor determining its pitch. This vibration frequency is measured in hertz, representing the number of vibrations per second. Typically when tuning musical instruments, A is used as the standard pitch, which is the note A in the scale, or A above middle C. When we say A equals 440 Hz, it means the sound wave of that A above middle C vibrates 440 times per second. In 1953, the International Organization for Standardization ISO issued the standard for basic A at 440 Hz. And since then, the standard music we hear has been composed mainly according to this 440 Hz frequency. This seems very reasonable, but upon closer thought, something seems wrong, but where exactly? Because many music enthusiasts believe that 432 Hz is the most natural, harmonious fundamental frequency. Its soft, warm, comfortable frequency makes you feel relaxed both physically and mentally. Moreover, it even has special healing effects on wounds. Some even say that 432 Hz can open the heart and the third eye. In fact, before 440 Hz was established as the standard pitch, classical music masters like Mozart, Beethoven, Verdi, all composed at 432 Hz frequency. If we trace back further, ancient classical instruments like the Tibetan singing bowls, African Kondane instruments, ancient Greek lyres, and Dutch salko were all tuned to 432 Hz frequency. Not only that, through Symmetric's image display, the pattern of 432 Hz frequency is clearly more balanced and aesthetic. That's why some say today. And all of this was deliberately implemented, dating back to the Nazi era. It's said that at that time, a group of scientists concluded through research that 440 Hz frequency could make people more subconsciously obedient and easier to control. Joseph Goebbels, Nazi Germany's Minister of Propaganda, forced all musicians of that time to use 440 Hz for composition. He wanted through this method to unify human thoughts and emotions, turning people into slaves of a particular consciousness. After World War II ended, to achieve the purpose of optimizing humanity and utilizing resources of a new world, the Rockefeller family donated a large sum to the American International Musicians Association to support setting A at 440 Hz. Then in 1953, the ISO organization even established A equals 440 Hz as the global standard. Musical cult control theory. The music industry's forced use of 440 Hz frequency has caused extreme psychological instability in modern people, and made people with depressed emotions develop illnesses. Of course, some 440 Hz supporters argue that this is just an urban legend created by conspiracy theorists, not credible. From a certain perspective, 432 Hz and 440 Hz represent a century-long battle that continues to this day. Their advantages and disadvantages, whether in music or psychology, remain undecided to this day. In the 10th century AD, al-Masudi, an Arab historian while traveling in Egypt, met a priest in a temple. The priest told him an extraordinarily transcendent story related to the pyramids. The priest said that the pyramids were fundamentally not built bit by bit with human strength, but rather through some kind of self-levitation, some miraculous He said that when building the pyramids, workers would place a special material called bitcoin beneath the four corners of the massive stone blocks. They held a special metal rod, touching the four corners of the stone block. When the metal rod contacted the large stone, producing a clear ringing sound, and then an astonishing scene appeared. This special type of frequency oscillation causes giant rocks to gradually rise into the air, and stop floating at a certain height. The workers continued their work, with each stone block sequentially lowering it a predetermined position. At this time, there were other workers specialized in checking the angles of stone placing. If there were any errors, workers holding special rods would continue making adjustments, repeating this cycle. This completely shattered the image of pyramid construction sites in our imagination. Instead of hundreds of thousands of sweat-drenched slaves working day and night under the sun and the foreman's shouts, using human strength to drag levers and work non-stop. On the contrary, the pyramid construction method described by the old priest seemed like under some kind of mysterious ritual, only required an elegant artistic method to complete an incredible structure. Speaking of this, those who have watched the City of Giants video would likely make certain associations. If using the construction method described by the old priest for giant workers, wouldn't such a magnificent pyramid over 100 meters tall be built easily? Actually, the old priest's story also made me think of a megalithic wonder in Florida, USA, the Coral Castle. Coral Castle is located south of Miami, Florida, USA. Considered one of the most admirable architectural structures in history, the entire castle was built from over 200 stacked coral stones, with the heaviest block weighing up to 58 tons. From quarrying, shaping, transforming to construction, all completed by just one person. That man's name was Edward Leeds Scullman. It's said he built the Coral Castle to commemorate his lost love. Edward Leeds Scullman was born in 1887 in Riga, the capital of Latvia. In his youth, he had a beautiful romance with a young woman. But on the night before their wedding, the girl abandoned Edward's love and left. Edward was so heartbroken that he wandered away. Then came to America and decided to build a love castle using coral stones. Coral Castle was built in 1920, taking 20 years to complete. Inside the castle is a simple ancient telescope. Carved from a single coral stone weighing over 30 tons, the telescope's aperture perfectly aligns with the North Star. There's also a large gate built from a coral stone weighing over 9 tons. The mechanism of this large gate is incredibly miraculous, even though visitors only need to use one fingertip to push it open. Within the castle is another structure that makes people marvel. That is a heart-shaped stone table weighing over 2 tons, Earth's largest lover. In 1951, after his death, someone found his tool room. The tools inside were only wooden sticks and iron bars. All were extremely primitive tools. Edward Lee Stallman was 152 centimeters tall and weighed 45 kilograms. In that era without high technology, with Edward's physique, how could he complete such a coral castle project alone? Some neighbors living nearby said that Edward only worked from late night until early morning, completing his work using a light from a handheld lamp. No one ever saw how he transported these giant stones. It seemed Edward had a very strong sixth sense. Whenever he detected someone peeping, he would immediately stop working until that person left. But there was one time when a neighbor accidentally saw Edward placing his hand on a stone, and then singing to the stone, as if the singing could make the stone lighter. In his diary, Edward once wrote like this. He said, "I have discovered the secret of the pyramids. I learned how ancient Egyptian, Peruvian, Ugandan, and Asian architects used the most primitive and crude tools to transport massive stones weighing several tons and place them in the appropriate positions. The secret of pyramid construction has always been the greatest mystery for scientists." Similarly, this entire sandhill castle also makes scientists feel extraordinarily strange. Perhaps the mystery of how Edward transported those giant stones is hidden in his singing. And what he used might be a kind of stone suspension technique. In fact, suspending objects in the air using sound is not a new concept. It has a professional name, acoustic levitation. Perhaps people are no longer unfamiliar with maglev technology, magnetic levitation technology. After all, many cities today have opened maglev train lines. In a floating state, friction is significantly reduced, and speed is qualitatively improved, truly achieving the meaning that speed is not a problem. However, compared to magnetic levitation, acoustic levitation has fewer physical requirements for materials and is more stable. More interestingly, in the history of physics, the emergence of acoustic levitation came entirely by accident. In 1866, 27-year-old German physicist August Kundt, while measuring the speed of sound in solids and gases, accidentally discovered that sound waves in a resonance tube can cause dust particles to float and dance on their own. And so, August Kundt became the first person to discover the phenomenon of acoustic levitation. However, it took more than half a century for humans to understand the principle behind this phenomenon. In 1934, Canadian physicist Louis V. King pointed out that acoustic levitation is a type of nonlinear effect under high sound intensity conditions. Its basic principle is through the interaction between standing sound waves and objects, generating a vertical levitating force to counteract the object's weight. The axial acoustic levitation devices we commonly see today are composed of an emitter above and a reflector below. The emitter sends out sound waves, which travel to the reflector below, and through the reflector, are reflected back. The reflected sound waves and the emitted sound waves overlap and interfere with each other. The operator can adjust the distance between the two ends. When the distance is exactly an integer multiple of the sound wavelength, the emitted and reflected sound waves in the device will superimpose, forming a stable standing wave. As the name implies, the sound wave appears to stand still. In it, the points where the two waves meet are called nodes. The points with the maximum amplitude are called antinodes. Theoretically, the sound pressure at the nodes is zero. At positions slightly below the nodes, the sound pressure points upward. Sound pressure here refers to the pressure change caused by the oscillation when sound waves pass through a medium, denoted by the symbol P, with the unit Pascal. When sound waves travel in air, they are a type of longitudinal wave. The density of air particles changes with the sound wave. When density changes, pressure naturally changes accordingly, and this changes the sound pressure. Placing a small water droplet or a small sphere slightly below a node, the upward force field formed by the vertical sound pressure will balance the gravity of the water droplet or small sphere, thereby producing a levitating effect. After over a century of development, acoustic levitation has evolved from an accidental discovery into a mature tech. Since objects can levitate in midair without any support, acoustic levitation can simulate a containerless state in a space environment. Due to the ability to melt metals with extremely high purity, in recent years, acoustic levitation technology has been widely applied in biochemical micro. It can eliminate the absorption of the container on the analyte, avoiding interference from the container walls with the analytical detection signals. However, compared to magnetic levitation, acoustic levitation technology still has a fatal flaw to this day. That is, it can only levitate or lift objects with very small mass, and the object size must not exceed half the wavelength of the sound wave. Therefore, the advanced technology of transforming the giant pyramid building stones in ancient time, if using today's acoustic techniques, is impossible to replicate. In 1989, Colin Andrews, the namer of crop circles, led a 25-person research team to conduct the first organized crop circle monitoring activity in human history. In the fields near the Winchester area, Hampshire, United Kingdom. Researchers went undercover for 24 hours, trying to find the origin of these continuously appearing crop circles. This operation was even named Operation White Ball. The operation lasted 10 days, with the research team parking a truck next to the field as the command center. One researcher stayed in the truck, while the rest, in groups of 4, continuously observed the crop circles 24 hours a day. However, the surveillance operation still failed to catch the creator of the crop circle. But during this operation, the research team recorded some very strange sounds while observing at night. After the operation ended, the recording tape was sent to NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. Through analysis, NASA concluded that these sounds were completely unrelated to the calls of insects or birds. It resembled some kind of mechanical sound source with a rhythmic cycle, with a frequency in the range of 5,000 to 5,200 Hz. Since then, some crop circle research enthusiasts began to speculate that the formation of crop circles might be due to some special sound interacting with plant cells, creating a resonance effect, causing the plant stems to bend. Different tones would create different shapes, similar to resonance experiments. In fact, in many eyewitness reports of crop circles, some people clearly describe that before and after the crop circles formed, they heard a sound mixing cicada chirps and flowing water. Nikola Tesla once said that if you want to explore the mysteries of the universe, think about energy, frequency, and vibration. Sound produced by vibrations at different frequencies can be an artwork that relaxes and cheers the human spirit. It can be high technology that changes the world, and can also be legends that attract people's hearts. But most importantly, sound is also a tool for conveying emotions. There is a story based on a true historical event like this. In 1944, during a battle, a German sniper successfully shot down 40 British soldiers. When this sniper aimed at the last surviving British soldier on the battlefield, in the final moment of his life, the British soldier took out the harmonica he always carried and played the Irish folk song, Danny Boy. The soldier remembered his beloved newborn child at home, recalling the moment he once held the child in his warm embrace. As the melody ended, the British soldier took off his helmet, preparing to calmly face the German sniper's bullet. Unexpectedly, at this moment, the sorrowful cry of the German sniper was heard. He remembered his fiancée, waiting for him to return home, recalling their embrace when they parted. It was music that awakened the last gentle warmth worn down by war in them. It was music that made the sniper soldier put down his gun. At this moment, war no longer mattered. The longing for peace and a better life in the hearts of both soldiers was exactly the same. Perhaps music is the cheapest miracle drug in this world. It doesn't require language, yet it brings us closer together. When music plays, no words are needed. You and I, we all understand. But besides that, music can also become a tool for someone to control human minds, thereby carrying out the plans they desire. And if so, what can each of us do? Personally, I believe that gaining understanding to have clear insight and judgment is what we can do. I wonder what you think. Please share with everyone in the comments section below the video. And our sharing for today will pause here. If you found this video helpful, then don't forget to share it with a friend or watch together. Thank you all very much. Goodbye and see you again.
If the signal hooked you, subscribe and catch the next ripple.